Everybody. Sorry for the little delay. I was looking at, of course, the company, and I got overlooked. And then my phone, I looked up, my phone was like on 65%. I had to let it get to like 80%. That took a few minutes. I'm sorry. No excuses. That was me. Solely me. Let's move that over here. That was all me. No excuses. Yes, I'm live. We are live. Yes, we are live. So as we set up, well, we already set up, but I gotta join the control room and all that good stuff. I hope your day was pretty good. I hope you got some sleep last night. It is Tuesday, guys. It's only Tuesday. We are doing very good. We are doing very good. It's July. We good. Last month, it's crazy. I feel like I've known everybody for 5 to 10 years, and we just started last month really being consistent. I went. It's weird when you go to bed on time. You still feel a little tired the next day. It's weird, right? All right, hold on. Smooth. No, okay. It's not letting me join the control room. It's not saying I'm live. That's a problem in itself, right? That's one thing about glasses. There you go. It wasn't updated for some reason. All right, so we got some stories. I'm good. My glasses are pretty good. Should get me through. Eyes are starting to strain. We got some things to talk about. We got a lot of stories today. I guess Monday, people took off work on Monday because it was a holiday yesterday. Still, I guess, because it wasn't nothing out here. But we got information today. All right, I am in the control room. Let's get our disclaimer up. And hopefully no important phone calls happen because it's only certain people that can call and mess up this live stream. So hopefully none of that happens. Live streaming on your phone is it's a pro and a con. Like, it's a pro and a con. They're the best. If I had like an iPad, I would just direct all my calls to the iPad. Guys, I was setting up like I was finna edit. All right, disclaimer. Come on. Let's see if I can remember it. The videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose an institution, okay, I felt like, yeah, okay. I was doing pretty good, actually. Disclaimer, the videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose an institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at the institution that you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing. I am not representing any institution. Hit y'all with that Donald Trump impression. Speaking on behalf of creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. Let's rock out. Man, I feel good today. I might need to start going to bed on time, but when you be editing, it does that to you. Stay up late. Let's go. We got some work and some information. Information, just like motivation. Okay, first thing is first. The Trump administration warns Harvard, man. They can't stay out of this man's way, man. They can't stay out of their way. They cannot stay out of the way. They just can't. So, I got news that the Trump administration is supposedly subpoenaing, if I say that right, Harvard. Now, I don't have an article just yet. Actually, I do. Linda posted it on LinkedIn. That's why I said Trump administration. And I got to get some people here. We got to get that traffic coming in. Guys, So I'm saying like this, I don't got pants on today. Not pants, but like, lounge, pajama pants or nothing. I got shorts on so I can be more movable. And do my, showing that I still a little flexible and stuff. Where is it? Saved items. Linda had just said it. It's the Trump administration, but Linda said it though. Is it this one? Yeah. And they actually posted it on the education. They actually posted on the Department of Education website. Now, y'all know they have not been posting nothing on this Department of Education website. And I got a clip on Linda too. It was from her cabinet response. But one thing at a time, right? One thing at a time. So where is it? This was yesterday. I was gonna say, this is old. Yep, here we go. All right, so this is on the Department of Education website. I'm happy that they actually post something because we really should do like a petition. Like, look, Department of Education, y'all need to post everything and every little thing. That means y'all need to hire people who can post this on the website more. We need all this. So, U.S. Department of Education and Health and Human Services notify Harvard University's accreditor of Harvard's Title, it looks like Title VI violation. So I'm gonna look up what's a Title VI. That looks like Title VI. Cause I got, that's 5 and 1. It should be Title VI. So let's see, my people. What is? I know Title IX is about like related to rights. The Civil Rights Act. Okay, as I thought, but I like to just check and make sure because I've been saying it a lot. It says no person in the United States shall, on the ground of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in. So let's see what Harvard did now. Supposedly, they're finding any and everything about Harvard because they said now that they can lose their accreditation. Now, if Harvard lose their accreditation, that means everybody should lose their accreditation. You can't take away Harvard accreditation. We won't be considered a place or a hub to go to school if you take away their accreditation. So Harvard, let's see what they did now pertaining to the Civil Rights Title VI. It says the U.S. Department of Education Office of Post-Secondary Education, the United States, Department of Health and Human Services offers civil rights. Notified the New England Commission of Higher Education. The commission that its member institution, Harvard University, is in violation of federal anti-discrimination laws. So it's about anti-discrimination again, and then therefore may fail to meet the standards for accreditation set by the commission. And it says to President Trump executive order of reforming accreditation to strengthen higher education. Both departments have an obligation to promptly provide accreditors with any non-compliance findings related to member institutions. So it's about their anti-discrimination again. But I'm trying to see what did Harvard do. They're just, slipping them the, hey, you're in trouble, Harvard. You could face losing your accreditation. But we understand, that's me talking, guys. I understand that accrediting bodies place academic integrity. So harassment, discrimination. So they are saying, per Linda, that Harvard University has failed in its obligation to students, educators, and American taxpayers. They said the Department of Education expects the New England Commission of Higher Education to enforce its policies and practice and to keep the department fully informed of its efforts to ensure that Harvard is in compliance with federal law and accreditor standards. So, Harvard. Okay. What did Harvard do? That's what we're not seeing. What did they do? Is this for the same reasons again? Like, because they keep constantly doing this to Harvard, but here it goes. Okay. Wow. Here it goes. So on February 3rd, remember the guys, this is not my round. You know, I'm going to tell you real quick, this is not my round. But on February 3rd, HHS OCR initiated a compliance review of Harvard Medical School based on reports of they've been wearing this word out.
Anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitic. I want to make sure I said it right. Reports of anti-Semitic incidents during its 2024 commencement ceremony. On April 7, 2025, HHS OCR expanded the scope of the compliance review to Harvard University as a whole and to the time period from October 7, 2023 to the present. On March 10th, the Department of Education Office for Civil Rights sent a letter to Harvard University warning them of potential enforcement actions if they do not fulfill their obligations under Title VI to protect Jewish students. What's up, G? Oh, it's about Jewish students again. Okay. Same old. I guess they just got re-subpoenaed. I guess that's what just happened with Harvard. Which leads into the second topic, because Linda, the Trump administration plus Linda, they are only targeting right now Harvard and Columbia. G, it's about your school again. They got them on target practice right now. Because I was trying to figure out why that's just pretext for all of their demands. Yeah, I thought it was something new, but I guess they just reaffirmed like, hey, we coming for you again. I thought it was something new, but they did say they warned them, but they've been warning them. You can't really take away the accreditation of Harvard. I just feel like you take away the accreditation of Harvard, you might as well take the accreditation of all other schools. So you can't really just reiterate. I suppose. Like Harvard, they not gonna do nothing to Harvard. On a speaking on behalf perspective / Henry perspective. Speaking on behalf perspective, they're not gonna do nothing to Harvard. They trying to come to agreement literally as we speak. We got that from the horse mouth herself. She ain't getting nowhere with Harvard. She was hesitant in that meeting with Trump. I don't think it's looking good for Linda. Trump might have said she was okay and good on camera. I don't think she good. I don't think he like her progress right now. She doing a bad job of putting herself out of a job right now. It looks foolish to take the accreditation of Harvard. Exactly. It does. Everyone knows it's a political game. It is very much a political game. They just need to say how much you want. Harvard need to be like, how much you want? And then be like, you ain't getting it. And then they'll be like, okay, how much you willing to give? And just give them the money and keep it pushing. Because I don't know what bigger game they're playing right now, but they're playing a bigger game. That's something that probably won't come to light until somebody know the real truth. I don't know. I'm looking at it from the outside right now. But for sure, they're not getting nowhere because you just can't do that to Harvard. Like, that's one of the most prestige institutions in America. if not is. Of course, it's in competition with some other ones, but and Columbia as well. Gee, I don't know if you talk about most prestige, but you already know we had this talk yesterday. A 2-year college is more prestige than any Ivy League out there. Just for the, just to reiterate that, he can do it. He would just look like a fool. Yeah, he will be that would because they'll get it right back with the next administration. I think Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter who is the next president. 2 years are cool. Yeah, it doesn't matter who the next I think president is. They will give the accreditation back, and people still gonna go there. I don't really think that's where you have the people going against the what we call it the chain of command, the leadership, the executive leadership, because the executive I seen it. I think we all seen that plenty of times. Like the executive leadership can say something, but on a surface level, the people who actually dealing with the schools and stuff would say, I'm still gonna go here. Because eventually they're gonna get it back. If you play the long game, just like the stock market, right? If you play the long game, you'll get your accreditation back. It won't last long. Because it'll be just like one of those incidents when something happened, everybody panicked, then you look back up, boom, they got their accreditation back. You be like, oh, you gave it back. And then, yeah. Yeah, none of this will continue to matter. Yeah, and that's why I feel like we're not going to be in a good situation because of that right there. The next administration, I don't think whoever it is not going to follow this. And that's where we're going to be in trouble. That's why everybody's like, we are going to be in a bad position. That's what everybody is saying. So the clip I have of Linda, so this was in her cabinet meeting. This the only one they posted so far. I'm pretty sure like that's the only she making free money first and foremost. I just gotta acknowledge this. She is making free money. If she went to this meeting and said this little part, I feel like this the only thing they asked her about in the meeting. She got an easy job. It shows you that she's not doing nothing at work for one. And I would love to have that job because she's not doing nothing. That's what irritates me a little bit. So I'm gonna post. I'm not post. I'm about to play this clip. I first need to make sure it's turned up, and then this is gonna be our reaction once we edit the video in the future, and hopefully get it posted in time. But we will.
Could I just ask Linda? She's involved in so much. She's so talented and so good, and she's working on a couple of little things like Harvard. Was given $5.5 billion over a short period of time. We caught him on that one. It's crazy, but you're working at so much. You want to bring education back to the States. How are you doing?
Well, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity. I think on the big, beautiful bill, what we saw, was school choice, that's finally on a national basis at the state level, but there are opportunities now for scholarships more and more often for kids who are in schools. This is going to be a big turnaround. I think one of the biggest accomplishments we had over the past week was University of Pennsylvania with the Title IX ruling that Leah Thomas was stripped of her title, Riley Gaines and Paula Scanlon and other women who have stood so strong against men and women's sports. And when you put out the executive order, that just solidified and gave him the opportunity. So those are a couple of really, really big wins, and thank you for that opportunity.
And how are you doing with Columbia and Harvard?
We're negotiating hard. I think we're getting close to having. We're negotiating hard. I think we're getting close to big wins, and thank you for that opportunity.
And how are you doing with Columbia and Harvard?
We're negotiating hard. I think we're getting close to having that happen. It's not wrapped up as fast as I wanted to, but we're getting there.
Okay, good. And you've done a fantastic job. Thank you very much.
You've been a good team.
Yep. You have a great
team. Around this table, a lot of people help with that.
That's right. Thank you very much. Good.
All right. So okay. Let me turn that down before I play something else on accident and it be really loud. So okay. All right. First thing I heard, of course, bring education back to the states. Trump said, "How that's going? You know what you're planning to bring education back to the states." I don't know. I don't take Trump as the person to be like. I don't think Trump is the person that like to hear. I think we're getting somewhere. I believe we're making progress. I don't think Trump is that type of person. I don't think he likes those answers, but I could be wrong. Cause I'm not gonna lie, a little personal context. My last supervisor, that's where the little narcissistic came in with my last supervisor. And he was like that. He did not like if you said I think, believe, a little narcissistic. Because he thought really that you can control people and get them to do whatever you want them to do. And we work in a human behavior career field where you have to read people. And so those are good answers. Like I believe, we striving, we making way, we making progress. Like those are words you want to hear. But oof, my last supervisor did not want to hear that, and that was the terrible trait to have as a supervisor, supposedly supervisor. Terrible. And so I feel like Trump is. We'll see. We'll know off of that, and hopefully I remember this video because if Trump doesn't get rid of Linda, then we know, oh, he tolerates that, he's cool with that, or he just don't care. But if he gets, did I say that wrong? Let's say that again. I feel like I said that wrong. If he gets rid of Linda, he cares about why he doesn't. So I'm confusing myself a little bit the way I'm phrasing it. If Trump says, if he gets rid of Linda, that's because he doesn't like the striving, I think, I believe. He don't like that stuff. He wants to know, we're going to get it. It's done. Boom. Only reason I say that is because Mike Johnson, when they asked Mike Johnson, like, when was the one beautiful bill going to be there? Mike Johnson said, oh, no, it's going to be there a day early. It was never like hesitant, maybe, we'll see. Even Scott Bessent, he doesn't even says like, he always gives you answers of like, if it's like relating to Trump and what Trump wants, it's always like by this deadline or G, that's what it seems like, yeah. And so just those key words that I learned from being around sharks, I like to say people who are sharks, they don't like those maybe words and stuff like that. He wants to be president. See, we're getting some spelling today. And then G also said she will take the fall when he starts getting a lot of slack for not fulfilling his campaign promises on education. Yep. And then he wants to be president and want that Trump endorsement. Okay. And so, yeah. And then they have to really play the long game, though. Like, hopefully the public is educated. Hopefully the public is educated before we get to the Columbia and Harvard. Hopefully the public is educated in the future, and then they see like what's gonna happen, because we won't start seeing drastic change. I think we won't start seeing these changes until 2026. Really, that's when it starts kicking in, because everything he's been doing has been now, and it's supposed to kick in like 2026 and so on. So hopefully the people catch on to like what's going on, and they realize that, you know, they actually know a little bit. You ain't got to know a lot, but just know a little bit like what's going on. So like when Mike Johnson does run for president in the future, because that's what G is saying, like he wants to be president, Mike Johnson, the speaker. When that happens, we just know like, hey, we do our backtrack, we retrace, we watch film. Exactly, you won't feel much until later. You always don't feel it until later. Like with college, I would say those prices, and we got a topic on that right there too. They gonna feel it in that higher education. They finna feel it. They gonna say, how this happened? What happened? Then I feel like that's when I should get some phone calls, G. Like people want me to come talk a little bit, or I don't know, interviews. But we plan on doing some interviews or doing some collaborations though, G, when school is over. That's the plan. Yeah, that's how we're gonna get those people. That's exactly how we're gonna get them. And so Linda definitely in that cabinet meeting though with her response, she's negotiating. I wonder what they're negotiating about with Harvard and Columbia, because yeah, those two. Only thing I could think of is they got a lot of money. That's the only thing. That's the plan. Nice. Yeah, that's the plan. Because all right, so something crossed my mind, G, when you said that. Something just crossed my mind. 4. Okay. Yeah. Only thing I could think about she's negotiating with Columbia and Harvard is money. That's the only thing I could think of. Because when they talked about this in the meeting, it's like, for one, she's nowhere. It doesn't sound like, if it sounds like to me she's nowhere. It sounds like it's nowhere. Like you're in the same place you started when the administration. Granted, he's been in there since January. They're in the same. The only thing that's changed in the Department of Education since January has been them fighting for the Title IX. People lost jobs in higher education. Based on what we've been covering, people lost jobs, Title IX, and them reminiscing about the glory days. If I can be real, like the Department of Education has not even been talking about veteran education at all. And then they trying to put the education back in the states, which is one of the main things that makes no sense. It's not gonna make sense at all, because they're just gonna let colleges do what they want to do anyway, and that's their plan though, to dismantle the Department of Education. But as we keep going, so they are negotiating where to comply and where can they ease said demand. Harvard and Columbia want their contracts back. Also, this is clearly very, very new ground. So of course she is more than likely lost. Oh, she is very lost. Especially she has no higher education background at all. She didn't even go to school for that. I think she went to school for like, what we said, she went to school for French, I think. Yeah, I think she went to school for French, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to look it up because we already talked about it, but I think she went to school it was something that had nothing to do with education. That's the
baseball season.
We don't care about baseball season right now. And so oh, how I get off this page. Yeah. Very lost. And she was hesitating. I never heard her hesitate. Compared to that versus that, what she said in that cabinet meeting, her tone and everything was different. I don't know. Maybe she was a little sleepy. Maybe she was a little sleepy. Because her tone was very not confident at all. It wasn't. She's loyal. Very loyal. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't consider myself to be that much of a know-it-all. Never have been that person. Always been a humble person. Just sit back and watch everything, then make my moves. But right there, she didn't seem confident. Compared to her other interviews that I see, she talking, she just like, y'all can do what y'all want. Just like when she didn't know what AI was, that's kind of that is. I'm wondering what she do all day. How you not hear about AI? Like, I'm considered to be under a rock, but not to know what artificial intelligence is. And they've been talking about that since the 90s, 80s, maybe the 70s. And so that's just a little, well, maybe because they, WWE, maybe because they were making all that money from WWE, people slamming people. She's trying to get into Congress. She ain't really focused on this position. She trying to get into Congress. Man, they trying to set the Mcmahon family up, man. And all this is about power. That's what it seems to be. About power. Yeah, of course. We know. We don't want to get into conspiracies out here. She's running for United States representative. Yeah. Yep. I don't know. She doesn't have a good like club. A lot of people, what I see from social media, quote, social media. So you need to go talk to the owners of the social media platforms like LinkedIn, X. Go talk to them because I'm only quoting what I see. And one of them is very considerably a right-wing platform. I think both of them are, but they do not like her. A lot of people do not like Linda. Linda is on a lot of people bad side. LOL, I didn't say she would win. Yeah. We just have a conversation, G. Yeah, she just she's not liked by a lot of people. And so I hope she can make a good turnaround because yeah. And then if you do a little context and history, like her husband, of course, the owner of WWE, he doesn't have a good reputation either with his lawsuits and cases. I think most people didn't look into that or know about that, and so that's another one. But I'm not judging people because I know I'm not perfect, but I'm just saying, like, you just got to play all perspectives and look at everything from overall and see if it's really what it is. And so that was the clip from Linda, and we making progress pretty fast because really truly it seems like the same old, but you never know. They might. I don't put nothing past this man. I know he'll take the accreditation away from Harvard, even though I know people still gonna go there. But like you said, G, they want their money, like they want their contracts, and so like they like, look, man, we got the money set aside, but it's holding us up on what we could be doing other things about it. I mean, doing other things with it and stuff like that. It's just a waste of their time because I'm pretty sure the institution wants to work on other things, but they can't. They can, but they can't. Sticky situation. So the next one that I have, because it's gonna lead into a lot of other conversations. Those are my headliners, of course. Boston University is laying off some people, G. Boston University has declining enrollment. No surprise, right? We're not surprised. Once again, I said enrollment was declining. I said this was going to happen. Now, people, look, I'm out here too. Look, it's hard for me to get a job in higher education. I'm not even tripping. I promise you, I'm not even tripping. But don't say we didn't see this coming. I still got to say this every time. People try to not talk about the declining enrollment. They keep raising prices. And then maybe this is what they should do in higher education. Maybe this is what they should do. I don't know. No surprise, I had a friend whose sister went there. I think for graduate school. Okay. And I know somebody too. I had a coworker. She went to she got her PhD. She went to Boston University. And Boston University or Boston? I feel like they were supposed to put Boston College. Let's see, because that could be a whole nother college. Let me make sure before I say this. I'm assuming Boston College and Boston, yeah, they are. No, wait, Boston University, hold on. I got the article right here. Let me see. Let's see, G. Gee, is Boston University and Boston College the same school, or they're different schools? Is that the school like with the eagle? They are different. Okay. Perfect. I was about to say I think they're different too. Okay. I was about to say I guess that's why they call them Boston College. They call them Boston College, and they call this Boston University. So Boston University is a private research university. So guys, I have to admit, I didn't expect private schools to be hit by all of this going on. And so this is a learning moment for me as well. I thought private schools would have been more better because a lot, I'll say, of course it's not all of them, but like a good portion of private schools don't rely on federal money as heavy as like public schools. But I don't know if this is pertaining to federal money, but the moral of the story is they're laying off people at this school, which is a private school, and their enrollment is declining, which makes no. I'm trying to figure out because maybe G can help us out a little bit, and G, make sure to invite people who also went to, schools similar to this. They can give us an inside look, an insight, give us some insights, because private schools, you're choosing to go there. Usually, like what's that word? The consequences of going to a big private school, right? That charges a lot of money. So G right here, it says, where's my live chat? G said, hold on, I don't think it kicked in. There you go. G said the problem, like we talked about with Syracuse, they don't have the wealth of desire from students like Columbia and Harvard have. So are you saying essentially that Harvard and Columbia are pushing out schools like Boston University, Syracuse? Like more students are trying to go to Harvard and Columbia and the other ones rather than going to a school like Boston University? So Harvard and Columbia are cornering the market pretty much. That's what it sounds like. So I know it's giving you time to type and kick in, because it says a day of loss. Boston University to lay off 120 people, citing federal funding impacts. Yeah, so they relied on federal funding a lot too. And I remember we talked about that in graduate school. One of my colleagues, she used to work for the Department of Education, and she mentioned like a lot of Ivies use federal funding. She was like, it may not seem like it, but they use it. And she was like, they get a lot of funding too. And then let's keep going. So I can't wait for the part where we start seeing schools shut down. That's the part I can't wait for. Not like laughing matter because people losing their jobs, people, but it's all, somebody's gonna have to be like sitting down on camera like what led to this. And hopefully they call me up for an interview, hopefully. They might ask me a few questions. I'll be like, look, I know some things, but not everything. And so G right here said, they're not pushing them out. It's just as more and more students are applying to college every year, and wealth of information available many students if they can't get into the best settle. I heard that before, G. I heard that before. Like if a kid doesn't get into like, good example, if a kid doesn't get into Georgia Tech, for example, they'll go to like a state school and stay like they'll stay right at home, for example. I heard that before. And then G said for good enough when they can get a good scholarship from a state school. Yeah, yep. Oh, that's funny you did just say that. I was just talking about, I didn't even look over here. You said that, yeah. I seen and heard that before. Like students be like, oh, I ain't go to this school. I'll just stay at my state local school and stay at home with my parents, and oh well. That's what they'll do. Instead of going to another school close to it, they like, no, I'll just stay at home. Interesting. Appreciate that insight. So Boston University faces continued financial headwinds. It is eliminating 120 staff positions. This is by, what is this called? masslive.com. This was published July 7th, when they could have easily got into schools like Boston University. Yup. And Where's the so Mass Live, I don't know if this is definitely not like it's a news outlet. This is more like news. So some of this stuff could be opinionated and off if they got citations in here, but it doesn't look like they cited anything. They got some in here actually as I scroll down. But we'll keep going. Excuse me. I had a smoothie. And so 120 staff positions and reducing its budget by 5%. So, when they got to reduce that budget, that's not good. It says the budget cuts at the university are in part of a result of recent and ongoing federal actions and funding cuts that are impacting research and day-to-day operations at the institution, the administrator said. Boom, boom, boom. They also pointed to other pressures of rising inflation, changing demographics, declining graduate enrollment, and the need to adapt to new technologies. My goodness, school, what is going on? They said changing demographics. I wonder. I would hope the school could elaborate on changing demographics. And then they said declining graduate enrollment. So I guess the undergraduate is good. They just have graduate school is declining. We're gonna keep going. And they said adapt to new technologies. We'll see. They said this is a day loss for all of us. There is no way around this. We know our community may need time to adjust to these difficult changes, yet it is also a necessary step to ensuring our future, the administrator said. The university had previously announced it would pause merit increases. Once again, we say this all the time, G. We say this all the time, G. These university presidents, these execs need to cut back on their salaries. That's all they need to do. Right here it said the university had previously announced it would pause merit increases. If higher education wants to get better, and feel free, we can bring in some financial people, bring in a chief financial officer of businesses and Fortune 500 companies, whatever, and we can have a discussion. Of course, they're going to defend the bigger places because they're a little traditional, right? Whatever, yeah. But they need to cut their budgets back. Like, a university president doesn't need $1 million or $10 million. They getting paid like rappers. Like, presidents need to make $250,000 max. And I think they should get stock compensation or something. Like, why is that not in the mix? And if they get stock compensation and millions of dollars already, that's a problem already right there in itself. That's greed. And I feel like higher education is built off greed. They talk about like the current administration being like an oligarchy and all that. That's the only way they can get the best. That's the only way they can get the best. Schools don't have stock options. Exactly, they don't. Exactly, they don't. Unless it's a secret, G, and we don't know about it, they don't get stock options, right? Schools need to start, but they need to work out that deal. You know, they need to work out that deal. That's what they need to do. Like, it's an unorthodox mindset, right? To be like, maybe we could ask one of our alumni and billionaires to set something up. Like, I don't know how you can rig that up, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's not possible. Like, all these billionaires, they go to certain, of course it'd be at certain schools, but like, you'll be amazed, G, at like how many schools, like schools you wouldn't think are paying their presidents the amount of money they're paying them. And you're like we looking at now, your enrollment is decreasing. You're firing your day-to-day people. It's like it's like playing a video game, right? And I can put this in the simplest terms. You're playing a video game and you're the head video game person, right, on your team. You're playing online with your friends. You're the head guy, right? And you make everything happen, so you feel like you should get the most money. But it's a whole team unit making this whole thing work, but you get the most money. The rest of them, the other rest of them, like 4 or 5 of them, they only get a quarter of what you got. They don't even get you get the 75%, they get a quarter of what you got, but they gotta split the quarter of that. They don't like that. But then something comes up, somebody might offer them money, somebody might offer them money. Something might happen where you can't keep paying them. You run into a budget problem. So then now you're like, dang, man, I don't know. Should I get rid of them? But I can't really do the same type of things without them. But it's really like you're not even thinking like, it's my salary. I'm making too much. I need to probably pay them more, do this, cut back on mine so we can allocate it to something else. And so G's saying right here, most times, at least at Columbia, when I was there, Bollinger raised a lot of money and enrolled a lot of students, etc. That's why he kept his job for a while. Enrollment numbers, money raised, etc. I'm sure these things are taken into account for their pay. Exactly. And the thing I have, because we can look at a benchmark, but that's like, of course, one school, right? Every school is different. And like Boston University, there's no telling how long, because they're private, there's no telling how long either their enrollment's been falling. This could be 1 year. Now, granted, this could have been like the past 2024, their enrollments came back. They like, oh yeah, we're down on enrollments. But if this been happening for 5 years or something like that, since I've been in college, and y'all haven't made no action on it, y'all just been coasting by, that's a problem. I feel like that's what a lot of schools been doing, coasting, and then now they got hit with something last thing they expected. And so they said Clark University in not Worcester, but Worcester, also announced that it was planning to lay off. I'm gonna put that school in here. Where is it? And they said Clark University in Worcester also announced that it was planning to lay off up to 30% of faculty. 30% of your faculty? Oh man. Take away their accreditation. Now they said 30% of staff, they'll be a little slower. 30% of your faculty? So they trying to bring in somebody cheaper, whoever that school is. And 5% of staff while restructuring degree programs due to enrollment and financial challenges, according to the institution. See, these schools broke, man. A lot of these colleges been broke for a while. I'm convinced. No way you gonna lay off 30% of your faculty and 5% of your staff. That's 35% of your freaking workforce in your institution. Well, they gonna keep suffering. Like, comparing Harvard and Boston University is unfair, right? Because people dream to go to Harvard and ultimately settle for Boston University. A lot of that faculty could be adjunct professors. Yeah, but professors is professors, G. You know, like, those professors, so pretty much all the workload gonna be on the head professors, you know, like, those professors usually, like, how can I put it? Like, my professor I talk to a lot, they consider him an assistant professor. That's his title. He's like the head guy, but he's still like, at least for our program, but he's still considered an assistant professor. And I have, like, I say plenty of my, like, at my school, at least in graduate school, like, adjunct professors are the ones who taught me, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's not good. It's never good when you cut in people. Yeah, cut from the bottom. Yeah, that's just his rank. Adjuncts usually cover beginner courses. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's keep going. So yeah, they saying they gotta restructure their degree programs. Clark University guys, keep it on your not Clark, not Clark. I think it's called not the one in Atlanta, not that school. It's not that one, guys. It's a whole nother school. But Clark University, they are in trouble. I wouldn't go to that school. They said the layoff announcement followed by Worcester. Oh, boy. That's all they're gonna do. They're gonna be working them a lot more too. They gonna be working them, G. G said they're gonna make the regular professors teach more classes. Yup. And then them regular professors gonna feel like I'm not being paid enough. That's what they're gonna feel like. Those students gonna be like, you haven't graded my paper yet. Not saying it's a good idea, but for them to cut 30%, it had to be calculated. I hope it's calculated to cut 30%. I hope it was a calculated move. And so, boom, 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 back to Boston University. On top of the 120 layoffs, Boston University is also eliminating 120 vacancies, and around 20 positions will undergo a change in schedule. Those laid off will be offered separation packages and career transitional services. That's good. I can say one thing about these places. Um, I can say one thing about these schools so far. Seen when they land the people off, they have been offered separation packages and career transitional services. That's what they telling us. Now we're not there because there's always gonna be those one or two people that come out to the media and say they didn't offer me no separation package, they didn't offer me no transitional service. So it's good to see or hear that that's what they're offering them, even though they're letting them off. Still think they could do a lot better. And G is in here giving us what we need. G is bringing people in. That's why we appreciate G a lot, and that's why we talk to G. Cause G show us love, we show G love back. G, hold on, it didn't come in yet. All right. G said, G said they better offer separation packages, right? And G said, we like to have side conversations, guys, while we're while we're going through our content, because the chat is what makes us who we are. So it's only right that we, show love. So G said Clark Atlanta, because I was like a school in Atlanta. I knew it was Clark, but I wasn't sure if it was Clark University too, but it was Clark Atlanta. So Clark Atlanta and a lot of other HBCUs depend on federal funding to remain open. Yes, they do. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of HBCUs are at the mercy of the federal government. Yes. As always in the black community, we rely on the federal government, and we just don't learn from that at all. We don't learn from that. That's a whole topic in itself, right, G? We have a lot of people out here who have money in the black community, right? We have a lot of people, right, G? And for some reason, we still haven't found no way to be strategic about how to allocate money back to the schools that are HBCUs. That's personally why I never get caught up in HBCUs in college. That's why I never went to one, because I didn't know, let me say this. I didn't know the detail that I knew now, but I knew it wasn't a long game played. So I knew, like, if I went to it, I didn't want to go back through what I went through in high school. Like, so giving some context, when I went to my historical black high school, right, G? Because HBCU and a historical black high school are no different. It's the same thing except on the college level. I promise anybody that. And so my high school didn't have, my high school didn't have a track. We didn't have a track, like actual. And I know some people might say, "Oh, your school didn't have a track." No, like we had one, but it was concrete. Don't know who idea that was. It had a track, but it was concrete. our wrestling team didn't have a locker room or a place to practice. They used to practice in the auditorium, or share the gym with us. But when basketball season was in, if we needed to practice, then we'll have to shoot. Sometimes we had to split with them. They'll be on one side of the gym and we'll be on the other side. And then we didn't, on my basketball team, we didn't have a locker room. We shared the locker. We didn't even have a basketball locker room. We didn't even think about it. When I think about it now, my basketball team, we used to get dressed in the auditorium. We didn't even have a locker room. We used to get dressed in the auditorium. What else? Some other things I can't think of right now, but yeah, it was like, that's how HBCUs are. They don't, we just lack things. I don't know, like, it's a topic we always talk about, people of color, institutions. We don't know what they do with the money. We know it, they're not doing the right things with the money, and that's not my problem because I didn't go to HBCU for this reason. I was trying to not be in that mix. I choose wisely and do what's best for my family and my career and future. And so that's how you got to move sometimes out here. And so G said, a lot of people with the money didn't go to one or a college at all because plenty of the people with college donating money got it through entertainment, right? Yeah. And G said, so don't care about HBCUs for real unless they taking money from them for yeah. So they don't care about HBCUs for real unless they taking money from them for performances. That is true. We had track but not wrestling. Didn't even know high school wrestling was a real thing for real until I got older, showing my ignorance and age. Yeah, man. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, wrestling was a thing. Our wrestling team in high school was great. Them boys were great. And because the school got rebuilt though. The high school got rebuilt after I left, of course. That's usually how it goes. It got rebuilt. And they got a wrestling room now, locker rooms. They got ice baths. Like, people don't think about the little things schools have in high school. We didn't have. Like, I graduated in 2017. Like, people had ice baths. When I talked to other people who played sports in high school, they had ice baths and everything. We didn't have ice baths. We didn't have trainers, or like, we had trainers that were given to us by people who were doing internships, but they didn't know that much. But like, we didn't have trainers because a lot of the kids, you think about it, are in Section 8 in poverty. They don't even have insurance for real. So like, they get injured. Like, of course, their mom or parent got to foot the bill, but it's kind of like they not getting physical therapy. A lot of kids get physical therapy when they get injured. Didn't even know that. My cousin started telling me that because he's a physical therapist, my cousin brother. And so I was like, well, you know, I broke my hand, but I didn't get physical therapy for it. I just went back to, playing. But it shows you like lack of resources and how it make a difference, because it contributes to like a school winning state championships. It contributes to a school because when they win state championships, they get more recognition, and that brings in more money and more just more things, right? And so just some small details to think about when you think about it on a deeper scale. And so G said, that's good. Was never even a consideration to think about when I was in school. That's actually really cool. Yeah. It's always cool to tell stories, and I like how we can bounce off stories, G. Because it's always a kid right now that's probably going through that. Hopefully a parent, a guardian can see this and know like the resources really do matter and understand that, because, people always think it's about money, G. And, when they come here to this channel, I want them to remember, like, yeah, we talk about money and, like, how you can save a lot of money in college, right? But it's not all about money. It's about what we talk about, G, the resources. And, like, how the resources can lead to the money. And so G said, resources definitely make a difference. My school did, however, in football and basketball, made it to the semifinals a couple of times, even without the resources. Yeah, because it is possible, but I'm pretty sure that team, they had to be really good, right? I always tell people, I bet they had to be really good, because my older brother, his team was really good. that they had like in basketball contests, they had like 7-footers. You know, like the smallest person on their team was probably like 6'1", 6'2". But their team was so good and recruited. At that time they were recruited. That's why they were able to do that. But it took a long time, like probably until I came back. And then, not saying I was that good, but just a good leader. I knew how to bring people to the school, cause yeah. And then I was always the person to think about the future and invest in the younger people who are like 9th and 10th graders and telling them what they should do different versus what we did my senior year. And then after I left that senior year, I'll probably say like 2 or 3 years later, when they got older and more advanced, right? Once they grew, they won the state championship. And it took like a long time though. That was like the first, probably not the first one, but the first one in 2-3 decades, and they won the state championship. And they are kids, and like, don't get me wrong, some of them kids are still there. Like, they did not go off to college and play ball. Some of them did, but some went to military. Some, cause it's a small area, so like their team wasn't the tallest like crazy. One probably went to school. One of them, he actually played basketball Division I right now. Actually, he's at Providence, and so I didn't get a chance to play with him. But it shows you like when you invest back in the younger kids. That's why I learned that early, G. If I'm just talking, I learned that early. When you invest younger and show them the ropes early, like what you didn't know, they gonna be a lot better. That's why I believe strongly in like words and information matters a lot. It matters a lot. And then G said, they were good. They didn't really have beast like that tough. I mean, like that though. I really think it was dedication, desire, and they were just in sync with that goal. Everyone wants to be a professional ball player, Ella. Everybody wants to be. Gee, let me tell you, I think everybody wants to be a professional ball player. Everybody wants to be a ball player, yes. Everybody wants to be a ball player. I'm going to be honest with you. If I knew about the stock market early, I would have been in everything pertaining to that. I promise you, if I'd have known about it in high school, I wouldn't have not done sports. I'm thankful for the sports, though. It helped me work out. But at the end of the day, just put me on the team, make me like 12th man, and I'll be on the stock market. I would have been in the stock market from high school. 9th grade, I would have just been working and trying to do that. I promise you. I would have... I'm in the 0.1% of making it to the league. Nah. Just put me on the team. If we go to a win championship, I get a ring. And so, and then there are not many want to be professionals. Exactly. Knowledge is power. Once you get it, and the earlier you get it, the better, right? And specifically knowing how to use it. Yes. Because, like, man, like, it was just easier to get a job part-time. He said that's why a lot of rich people have rich kids. Yep. And the connections help, too, I suppose. You know, connections help. They help a lot. And then once we keep going, we like those sub conversations. I think, is it more to the university article? Oh, we almost at the bottom. So real quick to close out the university article. Real quick, Boston University. That's the university article. The Boston University. They have 120 layoffs. They're also eliminating. We already said they're eliminating 120 vacancies. 20 positions will undergo a change in schedule. They said those laid off, right? Separation, we said that. And then right here, they said, just we made an effort to limit the layoffs and blah, blah, blah. Nothing really crazy. So that was pretty much the end. I didn't even know we was at the end of that. We was at the end already. So we really was already done with it without knowing we were done with it. So that's Boston University, guys. Very expensive school, it looks like to be. They're in Boston, obviously, it's in the name. And so as we keep going, let's see what G said before we go to the next one. I think G said something else, if I'm not mistaken. G said they start, but the knowledge starts at home. It does start at home, and I think that's where a lot of people forget. Like, you got to teach your kids at home. Like, they're not gonna learn about the stock market in K through 12 school. They will never learn about stock market in school unless the school brings it to them. Like a certain teacher goes through all the loops and hurdles to bring financial stock market resources to school. Unless you go to a private school. I feel like private schools would do that, but I can't even tell you that because I never went to a private school. So I'm talking about K through 12, guys. So we need to get some YouTube. Bring some K through 12 private teachers into the chat. We need them, YouTube. Stop doing this to us, YouTube. We want the resources, YouTube. Bring the people. Bring the people, YouTube. I'm begging you. I know they're on YouTube. Bring them. I see people writing on boards, giving grammar lessons, getting 100K views. Bring them to me. Bring them to me. Why are you doing this to me? I didn't ask for this. And so G said that is where a lot of people fall short. They let schools teach them everything because they think that's all you're supposed to know. Yup, especially when you are in poverty. Yup. Fun fact, private school teachers actually make on average less than public school teachers. If we talking K through 12. G, how you know that? You just looked that up, G? You know I'm gonna put you on the spot. Did you just look that up? What's your source, as they say? While G gets types and it has time to come in, G is gonna give us the source on because G said, fun fact, private school teachers actually make less than public school teachers. I don't doubt it, but I'm questioning it. Because I actually know a private school teacher in the, because I'm in the reserves. I actually know a private school teacher in the reserves. And I'm pretty sure if she in the reserve, unless you just really love the reserves, yeah. And so G said, look it up. I have a gifted education teacher who taught private school before coming to public school. Well, that's a source right there, G. That's a source right there. That's a source right there. That's a source right there. At least it was true at the time. G, you say that I say stuff like that too. I be like, unless it changed. That's how I say. I be like, unless it changed. But at that time, it was this, but it could change. That's how I be too. So all right, let's keep going. G. Let's keep going. G, is it just you? I know you said you got 2 screens in here, but do you got 3? Are you the third person that be in here too? A 4th person? I seen about 3. I think it went to about 3. One person, I guess, keeps coming in and leaving. Like and subscribe. Well, let's get in the chat. So, actually, I got water. Order. So small colleges earn endowment tax exemptions. Oh, small colleges. Let's see. Let me see. Not while I'm live though, G. Not while I'm live. Nah, but we did have some people. Okay. Yeah. Not while I'm live. But small colleges earn endowment tax exemptions. The reconciliation bill signed. Why they keep changing? All right, let's be clear. Tell the Trump administration, tell these media outlets, whoever, that this is called the One Big Beautiful Bill. They keep calling it different bill names, confusing people. The reconciliation bill is the One Big Beautiful Bill. For all people out there, they keep changing names on it when it should be one universal name. I do not like that. I despise that. So the reconciliation bill signed by President Trump on July 4th raised the endowment tax from 1.4% to a maximum of percent of earnings for a small number of wealthy schools. But the budget bill, literally, the budget bill also puts a new condition on that tax. An enrollment floor of 3,000. That means 26 colleges are no longer subject to the measure. An enrollment of 3,000. Let's look into it. They got a link to it. And G said, what do you say, G? Is my screen not open? Let me see. I can close that out. There you go. Yeah, my screen. Oh. The budget reconciliation is how they got it passed. Okay. That's actually what it is from the. Oh, okay. That's what it. Cause I checked on my source. It's a .gov website, and they called it on the .gov website. That's what they called it too. The One Big Beautiful Bill. That's actually what it is fundamentally. That's why the House couldn't make changes after it lifted. The way I felt like that came off, G, was like, yeah, I don't know why they call it that, but that's why they call it that. That's how it came off when I was reading it, G. Okay. Okay. And so endowment tax, guys, once again, I don't know a lot about endowment tax. But I keep reading everything I get a chance. This is on Forbes. Hopefully Forbes doesn't try to make me pay, because I'm not paying for Forbes. Sorry. It's just a way for Congress to get things done faster. Okay. Let me find out you running for politics in the future, G. Let me find out. While 11 schools, including Princeton, MIT, Yale, and Harvard, were hit with higher tax on their endowments investment earnings, Congress exempted wealthy small schools, including, once again, Swarthmore, if I said that right, Amherst, Hillsdale, and Caltech from that levy. Have you heard of these schools before, G? I'm gonna put them in here. I know you heard of Swarthmore, if I said it right. Yeah, so endowment tax, though, when I researched, it seemed a bit confusing. Like it's related to financial aid, like they go together in a sense. But pretty much it's just a tax, right? They're just taxing them. I'm assuming, right, with the endowment tax, like, because usually endowment is a fund in the institution that have an endowment fund, so they just taxing them on that endowment fund, like what they make from it, right? That's what I'm assuming when I hear it and using that context of it. Because they talking about tax. See, now we need a tax person in here who works in higher education. Now we need a tax person in here. They say it all began as an effort by House Republicans to dramatically raise the excise tax imposed on the earnings of college endowments, and particularly the endowments of wealthy woke schools like Harvard. Yeah, because your school is considered woke, G. Yeah, it's like the college equivalent of capital gains tax. Okay. That's what it was coming off as. I know it's all the same at the end of the day. They just put different terms on it. It was coming off like that. No lie, it was coming off like that. That's why education and knowledge is power, man. And right, they're coming from woke schools. That's it. It is directly targeting big liberal schools. Hmm. Like as I tell anybody, they just they trying to get their money up and are getting a tax relief. That's because schools with fewer than 3,000 full-time equivalent. I know the word, it just didn't roll off right. That's because schools with fewer than 3,000 full-time equivalent tuition paying students will be exempt from the revamped endowment tax beginning next year. Why was that so hard to roll off? That was one of my roll offs I couldn't get to go. So, schools with fewer than 3,000 full-time tuition paying students. Okay, if you got less than 3,000 full-time students, tuition paying students, don't know why they said tuition paying. Everybody got to pay tuition. Tuition paying students. Unless you're on a full scholarship, I guess. I guess you're exempt in that way. But it's Forbes. Forbes don't know nothing about no higher education. I'm going to have to go soon, probably in like 20 minutes. Okay, G. Appreciate you, man. As always, love. Make sure you like and subscribe. I know you already subscribed, I believe, but appreciate you. G said not everyone pay tuition. What you mean not everyone pay tuition? Everybody better pay tuition. I don't care if it's a scholarship or I don't care. They better be paying their tuition. I pay my tuition. Like you said, scholarship. Oh, I'm just making sure, G. G said not everybody pays tuition. Sure, they better pay it. So it currently applies to private schools with more than 500 full-time, blah, blah, blah. Okay. G said, I think we all should say this out loud. G said, wait, kicking in. There you go. Need-based scholarships come directly from the endowment. That is words of G. Because G got the need-based. G, you did get a need-based scholarship when you was at Columbia, right? Using the latest available federal data from fiscal year 2023, Forbes identified at least 26 wealthy schools that are likely subject to the endowment tax. So we got 26 schools that are supposedly supposed to get hit with this endowment tax. 26 wealthy schools, right? And a lot of them have 3.5 million on the low end to 206. No. So usually when it's in a comma, guys, like the way to chart it is endowment value in millions, but if you got a comma, that's billions. So on the highest end, they got 3.5 billion. On the low end, Concordia Seminary on the low end has 206 million. So that's the school Obama spoke at, I believe, Hamilton College. Do I see any school up here? California. All these schools are up north, pretty much. Except for like Texas. Berry College. They're up here from Georgia. They got 1.2 billion in endowment tax. Interesting. Are they the only ones from Georgia up here? They the only ones from Georgia. That school got a lot of money. That's a lot of money. G said both. I asked the G gets money from the need base. G said both. Need paid most federal Pell grants pre-reimbursed the school. That's what it looks like, pre-reimbursed the school. I got a bonus grant from the federal also reimbursed the school and the academic pay the minimum when I was coming in. That's a lot. You got a nice pay reimbursed. Okay, I thought that's what it meant. It's cool. I figured that's what it meant. So these colleges, a lot of colleges though, guys. But these schools are supposed to get hit by. I don't want to go down the list and read them all, but this is a few schools that they can get hit with this endowment tax. And so I figured I couldn't do that. So they said, here's what happened. Forbes. As passed by the House in late May, the One Big Beautiful Bill, there you go. There you go, Forbes. The One Big Beautiful Bill is Trumpian name. It's Trumpian name. Okay. Increased the current 1.4% excise tax on college endowments, investment earnings to as high as 21% for the richest institutions. Those with endowments worth more than $2 million a student. Wow. They said while these schools are all nonprofits and traditionally tax exempt, the 1.4% tax on investment earnings was introduced by Trump's big 2017 tax bill when I was in high school. According to the IRS data, 56 schools pay a total of $381 million in endowment tax in calendar year 2023. So, once again, not a tax expert, guys. Disclaimer, not a financial whatever tax person, none of that. I'm not a financial advisor. But I would love to have somebody who works in higher education dealing with this tax stuff. If you got laid off by an institution and you don't have a job, you want to come and help out somebody and talk about this tax endowment stuff, excise tax, and all that good stuff, please come to our channel. We can use your services because, I'm pretty sure a lot of people who work in higher education would love to know, like, what this means a little more. Like, we know what it means, we see what it means, but I think we'll like to know some more details. Anytime people get taxed, they gotta have some money on the side. I read that Yale itself said it would have to pay $280 million next year alone, apparently. That ain't nothing to Yale. I know you know that, G, but that ain't nothing to Yale. $280 million. If anything, Yale just don't want to pay it because they being cheap. They just being cheap. You already know Yale gonna make that at the beginning of the fall semester. And when you have to pay that much, all of a sudden it will affect their budgeting, though. They should have had some money set to the side, though, G. I feel like with schools, because I know they said, I think Harvard, one of them schools that's an Ivy League, they said they got like $3 billion. I think it was Harvard. Could be Yale. They said they had like $3 billion. Oh, you gotta go? Oh, I thought you said you gotta go. But they would make it back. Yeah. And so I think Harvard got $3 billion in like pretty much like an emergency fund in case something happens. Oh, your school in here. So along with raising the rate, the House voted to exempt from the tax both religiously affiliated schools. Think of the University of Notre Dame and those that don't take federal student financial aid. The religious exemption was structured in a way that Harvard founded by the Puritans. Things I say that Puritans. What's that, G? What's crazy? On the surface, they have to show that it hurts. Wow, that is actually crazy. To exempt religious schools. Yeah, they gonna exempt religious schools. Yeah, they gonna exempt them. But they said they structured it away because Harvard was founded by Puritans. I hope I said that right. I was gonna put it in on Google. Well, I am gonna put it in on Google. They're saying this is who Harvard was founded by. You probably know this too. Yep. They said they structured it away so Harvard could still be hit. Because Harvard was trained by Puritans. I seen that word in graduate school. It was talking about pagans and stuff. I seen it. Make sure I pronounce it right. Mm-hmm.
Puritan.
Supposedly, right? They supposedly did.
Puritan.
Puritans, yeah. So the House also sought to penalize schools like Columbia University with heavy international student enrollments. Imagine getting punished for having imagine getting punished for actually bringing in international students for being diverse. Imagine being punished for being diverse. That's crazy, right? And then G also said they are actually quite the opposite of pagans. They are the hardcore Christian of that time. Yeah. Because we learned about the Puritans in one of my class. Not this summer, G, but my last summer when I took the class. We was talking about pagans, Puritans, of course, Native Americans. We was talking about all demographics in the class and people, when they came to America, the difference. It got deep. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I was just in there like, oh, I knew that. I'm learning. Like I learned it, I know it. Cause it was like, of course, that's when you go deep down into a whole nother. I don't know what degree that would be or education field that would be, but it's very deep. Very deep. Cause I was Googling a lot of the words myself. They actually say a lot of American values can be traced back to Puritans. Yeah, if you get deep in there, yeah, and you go watch the Boondocks will take you down that rabbit hole too. Yeah, I watched the Boondocks. The Boondocks age very well. They even today age very well. Stripping Harvard of its status, Huey was my favorite. Hey, Huey was on to something. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm over there paying attention to Riley when I'm young. I should have been paying attention to Huey. I'm like, Huey, what is Huey on? Huey on a different vibe right now, man. I ain't understand Huey, but I understand Huey now. He was always on to something. G said stripping Harvard of his status to receive international students was purely political and just a chip he had in his bag to use. G, you know something, man. You ain't saying it though. So G, real quick before you go, watch some clips now. And boy, he was woke before woke was cool. Yeah, you talking about Huey. I already know you talking about Huey. But G, real quick, I got a question before you go though. I got a question. I want you, so what are you saying though? When you said stripping Harvard, when you say stripping Harvard of its status to receive international students was purely a political and just a chip he had in his bag, what do you mean by that? Like, I feel like it's a little more to it. I know it is, but I want to know like where you coming at. Cause like I feel like you know something. I don't know the answer to it, but that's why I'm asking you about that. Cause you said it was one of his chips in the bag to do that. So what you saying that was just an easy way for him to get money from Harvard? I actually want to wait for this answer, guys. I actually want to wait for that. I want that perspective. And while we wait, we can go to we'll go to the next segment of this article. So schools with endowments of 500,000 to 750,000 per capita, if I said that right, capita would still pay at a 1.4% rate. And guys, remember to relate this back to students. G response just came in. To relate this back to students, instructors, people, to my consumer market people. This affects you because anytime your school gotta dish out money and pay money out of nowhere, it always hurts the school. It can hurt you too. Now you gotta think we talking about big schools like Harvard and Columbia. But if you like at a regular school, unless your school got less than 3,000 students who are paying full-time tuition, your school is gonna be hit with this. And it's not good. Especially if they got big endowment taxes. Like they're not even like Forbes is only saying the 26 rich private colleges. But Forbes ain't even no higher education outlet, really. So this could be all kinds of wrong, right? Like if I try to use Forbes in school, they wouldn't even let me use, at least in this genre, in higher education. I can't even use Forbes as a credible source. So we have to keep that in mind, like how this can affect you as a student. Like, of course, again, tuition rise and fees. Of course, the mandatory fees is more likely. That's where it falls in. But you just have to really keep that in mind. This always comes back on the student and how it just helps you to navigate your institution on where to go to school. Because everything is about timing. If I learned anything about the stock market, timing is everything. You can't time the market, but timing is key on entry points. And so it's the same thing in life. So I asked G a question, and G said he wants to pressure Harvard to do what he says. And G said he knew that $9 billion in contracts wasn't enough, but hitting the international students who tend to pay full price, he knows they would pay full price. That's what G's saying. He knows the international students would pay full price. That's how you hurt them. But like I said, I don't think it was that deep. Just did it because he could. About a quarter of Harvard students are international. See? And I asked G that question, guys, because G went to Ivy League. G knows how these Ivies work. He has, I don't care what you say, it's like anybody who goes to public college or 2-year college, you understand how it works and goes. And so G knows, like, G said it wasn't really too much to it. He just knew he could do it. And so are you saying he essentially is bullying Harvard, G? Or he really just want to get rid of international people? Is that what you're trying to get to? Like, he just want to get rid of, so does he want to get rid of international people? Or is it more of I want Harvard money? So G said he doesn't want to get rid of the right international students. That's a different conversation. Oh, okay. All right, I see where you're going now. I'm putting the other context in now. I see where you're going. Okay. Gotcha. And so endowment tax, guys, that's pretty much it because they're restating the same thing. They're pretty much, Forrest is like kind of behind the curve a little bit. Like, because they're just restating some of the stuff that we already talked about in the beginning. It's redundant, as I like to say. So let's keep going. But those tax endowment hikes, small colleges got exempted, but other bigger schools could be looking at big paying prices. So NIH, remember we talked about the NIH, guys, they're really important, and I have something to talk about with that too. The National Institute of Health announced Tuesday that it will replace a cap on it will place a cap on the amount of publishers can charge scientists to make their research findings broadly available to the public. In other words, they will place a cap on the amount of publishers can charge scientists for their research, literally. So the agency did not provide details on what the cap would be. But So real quick on that. Take that in for a second. So just to FYI, when you cut back on research, man, all right, peace, G. Appreciate for having you. When you cut back on research, when you cut back on anything health related in research, like we got the measles cases, they've been rising. I seen the head. Literally, it sent me a Bloomberg, I think, sent the headline about how the measles cases are getting out of hand a little bit. The measles cases are getting out of hand, and how that's going to affect. Anytime you cut research, guys, it's going to lead to something like, I won't say a pandemic, but it will lead to something like a pandemic. I don't want to say a pandemic because that means everything will have to shut down, but we could be heading somewhere when we're not researching, keeping up with things, and being able to take it serious. I say that to say I did some little history digging with I did a little history digging with Ronald Reagan. And when the AIDS happened, because my girlfriend has a health background, and so I was asking her questions about it, and I was like, so when AIDS happened, I was like, what happened? Because it was like, it wasn't like no, how can I put it? It spread it. But I'm thinking, I always ask questions, how did it spread? Why it wasn't prevented? And so Ronald Reagan was president, and so read some context. He didn't act on it fast enough. Pretty much downplayed it. And downplayed it to where it wasn't taken serious. And so that caused it to spread because they could have took precautions on like vaccines, for example. I'm not a health person, guys, but vaccines, like how they did in COVID, stand 6 feet from people. They could have put things like that, not like that, but like different ones to keep people healthy and prevent people from dying. And so, same thing. Now we're entering. Now it's gonna take time, but we want to be very mindful that when you're cutting research and it goes into higher education, and how does it affect you? Well, it affects your life. Because your life can be taken off of a disease, due to lack of research not being here. And that's why I go back to saying, like, because this is the National Institute of Health. And so they do a lot of research. And when you don't have research, you're ignorant. And when you're ignorant, you say you don't know or didn't know no better. And then that's going to lead down a whole nother rabbit hole, right? And so I do want to mention that. Same thing, higher education. But higher education has never faced a punishment, a major punishment yet. I think this is about the most they're going to get in the punishment. I could be wrong. But with the student loans constantly raking up, I just see like, I don't know, higher education, if it happens in our lifetime, of course, we're going to be all over that story and what happened. But higher education is just a government thing. And it really, a state and government thing that really is hard to say what will happen to it. It's possible, like when banks collapse, they work with governments too and stuff like that. And got the Fed, they work with feds, the federal levels. So banks collapse. If banks can collapse, housing markets can collapse. Everything can collapse. Everything could come to a point where it can collapse. What will happen in higher ed is what I don't know. I don't know what will happen. People are gonna lose jobs off, obviously, but what will happen to the students? The students keep going to school as normal. I think we'll see schools shut down. I think that'll be a form of it. Not big schools. Like I said, the blue chip schools, they're gonna be good. Smaller schools, gonna be in trouble. I feel like education gonna be hard to be accessible to people. I feel like that's what's gonna make it harder. And then, yeah, we're coming up on some times now. We're coming up on some times right now. Some real serious times. So how far we are in the live stream, guys? Oh, we have 1 hour and 39 minutes. It's time to do our closeout. All right, guys. So we finna do our closeout. We need to find out what school is. It's time to do our daily. What we call it? I'm still getting the name down myself, y'all. We still gotta do our daily spinning the college lotto. Spinning the college lotto. Like and subscribe. So we're gonna spin the college lotto. This is where we review a college. I break it down because I got a debt-free degree, as you can see, y'all. And when I was doing my 2-year to 4-year pathway under the articulation agreement, I always made sure I went to a school I can afford. My first school was an accident. I went to 2-year by accident, but my mom wanted me to go a lot, so I ended up going, but it wasn't to get a degree. I ended up getting a degree as I kept going. But when I was going through that transition again to selecting the school, I picked the school that I could afford. So, and I knew the max on my Pell Grant because I was a Pell Grant too. And so, but I knew if I had to come out the pocket, I knew like, hey, my emergency fund could cover me at least one term of school and could cover my rent and could cover my phone bill and cover my whatever bills I might have, power bill or whatever, right? Because it can cover all that. And you want to have 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund, usually. And so that was all going through my process when I was going to my university. So I was real strategic on where I went to school. I stayed away from big cities. So that's what we're going to do here. And if I don't know the area, if it's like, of course, in another state, cost of living, I don't know really. I'll tell you if I don't know. But I know if it's like 6 figures to go there for 4 years, and you graduate in 5 to 6 years, you don't need to go there. It don't matter where you're at in the United States. You don't need to go there. And so let's get into it. Because I know because wages have not even been matching that. And if you are getting that type of money, you probably got laid off. So our college right now is St. Mary's College of Maryland. This is a interesting school. I never heard of this school. Like and subscribe. It says, why is it interesting? It's a public honors college with a small liberal arts field, a waterfront campus on St. Mary's River, strong programs in biology, psychology, and environmental studies, known for close faculty-student relationships and interdisciplinary curriculum. So let's review this school, guys. St. Mary's College of Maryland. So we're gonna see how much it is. If it's private, I tell you already. If you don't know this, it's like a fundamental rule. If your school is private, if a school you're thinking about going to is private, don't go there unless you understand the consequences of going to a private school. I don't talk about private schools usually because private schools are intentionally expensive. I don't know why. You have to ask them. But I'm gonna be the person to tell you not to go to a private school. I want you to save your money. I want you to make money in college. I don't want you to wait till you graduate college and then make money, because you never know what predicament we might be in. Like, you might come in, like now, you might come into a bad job market. Like, it's a bad job market right now. It's hard to get a job right now. People are gonna have to take jobs in career fields they didn't go to school for. So you always want to be, my idea is always to try to be ahead of the curve. And so how do you do that? You just take the basic 30 minutes to an hour out your day and see what's going on in the world. But that's hard to do nowadays because this is not my phone, because I'm live streaming on my phone. But it's, people don't take 30 minutes to an hour to just scroll, like, not scroll. People don't take 30 minutes to an hour to just look up things. People do this all day. All day. All day. All day. Oh, well, I guess it died, so I guess I'll just charge it up. So How you supposed to stay up to date on information? You constantly scrolling. You can't get nothing done. So let's go. So the first thing I always do, guys, is that I look up the school tuition and fees. And then I look that up because I already know that's gonna come up because we gotta fact check their sticker price on the Department of Education. And then once we do that, that lets us know if the sticker price matches the Department of Education, because the Department of Education, which is the education.gov, supposedly is supposed to tell us if it's true or not, factual. So this is where we come. So I believe I'm on the school website, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna actually go back. I believe this is the school. Yeah. So St. Mary's, I heard so many schools called St. Mary's. So St. Mary's College of Maryland, they have a 72% graduation rate. It's a C average on the 100-point scale. So if I was in K-12 school and you gave me a 72 on my paper, on my math test or whatever like that, you get a 72 now. It's that simple. And so they got 72 out of 100%. Boop. And so they say the average price to go to St. Mary's College of Maryland, the average price is the average annual price is 18 grand a year. So if you do 18 grand a year divided by 2 for 2 semesters, that's 9 grand. That's too expensive, guys, because your purchasing power, like even if you're working a part-time job, the schools I picked, working a part-time job, my part-time job could have paid for my school in cash. Full-time job, full-time or part-time. If you got a full-time, you still gonna have a hard time trying to pay $9,000 a semester. So let's go fact check and see, because this could be wrong. You know, this is factoring in meal plans and staying on campus. So let's go see. So where, right here. And watching, and waiting, and watching. All right, so, and they specified if you are a Maryland and DC resident, they separated it. So if you in DC think you're gonna get that in-state tuition to go to school in Maryland, you're not. So guys, once again, I said the school is private. This was the lotto choice. The school is private. And the tuition for the school, if you are a Maryland, get out my face. If you are a Maryland resident, so if you are a Maryland resident, tuition alone, you're looking at $12,500. You're looking at $12,500 as a resident. That doesn't include the fees. The fees are $3,000 additionally. So guys, simply, I'm not even going to go past this because that is just absurd. It's absurd. So 12,000, guys. This is for the year, I'm assuming. Yeah, this is a yearly expense. So 12,000 plus 3,000. It's pretty much 15,000. Guys, divided by 2, you're looking at 7,500. 7,500. Like I tell my people, if you're a Pell Grant student or anything, but Pell Grant, you're getting 7,000 for the year. They're only gonna give you 3,000 for the semester, so you still got to come up with another $4,000. So that's expensive, and that doesn't include housing and meal plans if you go here. So you need to really consider going to St. Mary's College of Maryland. It's a private school. So normally when people go to private schools, they know what they're getting themselves into. If you know, cool. If you thinking of going to this school because you heard somebody else talking about it, now you know. Don't go there. I'm just saying, don't go there for your better interest. If you don't have the money, take your money, your scholarship, your Pell, take that somewhere else. You might qualify and be a better need-based student at another school. But I always say, talk to them, try, and work out something. But like one of our people in the chat named G, G said, I was trying to go to school that was going to pay me. And if they try to get too much in your business and still expect something for your parents to pay something, you need to go to another school. There are too many schools, guys. It's so many schools in America. I can literally evaluate colleges for the next lifetime of my life on earth. That's how many colleges there are in America. That's how many colleges you need to consider. Like sometimes a certain radius, you can go to another school that's not far out of your radius. But let's keep going though. So I'm not even gonna add the housing, the meal plans, because for the year at the school, you're looking at potential. You're looking at potential. You're looking at potentially $32,000 for the year if you go to St. Mary's College of Maryland. You're looking at 32 grand for the year. It's absurd. We're going to keep going. It does not match the sticker price on the Department of Education. College Scorecard, it does not match that. So since it doesn't match that, remember the Department of Education College Scorecard might be factoring in Pell Grant scholarships and all that, trying to drop the price. But the sticker price doesn't match. Let's keep going. They say though, when you graduate from here, you can earn about 60 grand after being 10 years removed. If you are a financial aid student and you've been removed for 10 years, you can earn about 60 grand after graduating. How do I feel about that? 32 grand. Let's not forget 32 grand. 32 grand times 4 is 128 grand, guys. So you're going to pay about 128 grand for 4 years, but you graduate in 5 or 6 years usually. And you're looking at potentially earning only 60 grand. But on the other side of it, you can earn below that. I don't think that's worth it, especially if you get student loans. I don't think that's worth it. Let's keep going. Because right now, the school is falling into a F category. But it's a private school, so it might end up being a C or a D. It might end up being a D because it's private. Might D, probably D. But let's keep going though before I get to that part. Costs. Graduation and retention. Okay, graduation rate. Boop, 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 boop. We already talked about that. So students who stay after their first year is at 82%. That's pretty low. That's almost a C again, guys. Like I said, it's gonna be a D probably. That's almost a C again. They can't retain students after that first year because it's very expensive, I'm assuming. And it's a private school. The financial aid and debt, 42% of their students, that's almost half of their students, almost receive federal loans to go here. That's not good. And you want that to be low. And so they have an average of 21,000 that borrow. So your average amount after you graduate from the college is going to be about 21,000. On average, you're going to come out with 21,000 unless you're just that very, very low percentage who's not going to take that. And then right here it says you have an 80% chance. I need that to be a little higher for me. If I'm coming out of a private school, it says you have 80% of a chance, which means that's pretty high, but that means the other 20% has a chance of making more than you. But 80% of the students from St. Mary's College of Maryland earn more than 80% of them earn more than a high school graduate. So and then they said test scores. Let's see. So they have a very good acceptance rate. They have a 75% acceptance rate. It's very high. And then they said they do take SAT and ACT scores, but once again, it's not required. Why? Because colleges need students. They are in need of students. Now, I'm sure when they have too many students, which is going to happen one day in life because everything moves in cycles, when people start going back to college, there's going to be more stricter guidelines. But right now, it's kind of easy to get into college. They're not really asking for X, Y, and Z. We just want you to come and charge you all these prices. That's what they want. So, yeah. 75% acceptance rate. So overall, once again, this school would charge you 128 for the upcoming year. That's for 4 years. If you graduate in 4 years, that's a house, guys. And I don't think the school is worth 128,000. I don't know the school like that to say that. It's private for one, so I can't say that. I don't know the school because it's private. But no school is worth that much unless they're gonna set you up after you graduate. And we would love for people to come in the chat, tell us how good the school is, if it's really good. We won't know if now we always keep in mind we don't know if you are a person that works for the school or actually went to the school, but we're open to like reevaluating it and going deeper on it. We just doing a review. I wouldn't transfer here based on my experience. I wouldn't transfer to the institution. I could not get a debt-free degree going to a private school, but it gets a D. D is always passing, but you don't get a credit, right? So they get a D because I can't transfer here. I can't save money. I can't build nothing while I'm there because I'm paying so much in school for a semester that I'll probably be taking out loans, and then I got debt. I'm messing up my credit and all that other jazz. I wouldn't go here personally. I was started a 2-year, bridge to a 4-year, but now I won't bridge to this 4-year. So guys, I give them a D in rating, and yeah. And we had a pretty good live stream, guys. I appreciate everybody who stopped in for a little bit. If you did, please feel free to fast forward the parts you feel like that's important to you. Remember, everything always relates back to the students, from the endowment tax hikes, from the Trump administration. Even though they're targeting schools, your school could be next. Keep your eyes open. From Linda, response at the cabinet meeting. Just being mindful what's going on. It always affects you. It might not seem important now, but it can hurt you down the line. And the one big beautiful bill has been signed. So I hope you learned something here. I hope you gained something. I don't care if it was 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I hope you gained something at 5 or 10. And we will see you tomorrow. Peace.